Yes, it's the Ern and Iso show. If you don't know that yet, no. You know what I'm saying? Ern and Iso with no ISO though. You know what I mean? So guess look like I'm solo. Look, usually when I'm solo, man, y'all know what I do. It's a Q&A, something like that. You know what I mean? I'm touching on something that I probably would touch on that ISO wouldn't even care to say, even though, you know, ISO is the man of many voices, many talents. You know what I'm saying? It's something that I'm touching on like that. But this is actually something, I mean, he may have wanted to do, but it just sparked my interest because of the conversation that we had in one of the shows when ISO was talking about substance being in hip hop and the lack of substance, how some rappers just rap and some rappers rap and they telling the story. You know what I mean? You know, when we was comparing the two of that. So this right here actually made me, trust me, listen, if y'all see a title on there and it's a catchy title, you know what I mean, with some crazy wordplay, trust me, that's all ISO. I give him all the credit for that. That's all ISO. This right here might just be exactly what it is. And this right here is, if the golden era was so golden, why are there elements of today's hip hop why are there elements that was subtracted from it then that makes today's hip hop so successful? So if the golden era was so golden to us, why are there elements that, that didn't carry through? You know what I'm saying? And I said, like, the thing that made me think about that was when ISO was talking about how substance in hip hop, you know what I mean? He just can't listen to some rappers. He just can't listen to rappers that's rapping just to put words together, to make them rhyme. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people complain that that is modern day hip hop. They just rap the rap. There's a lack of substance, no storytelling. You know what I mean? The elements of hip hop have left. But one thing we cannot deny, hip hop is still as successful today, if not more than it was then. So, you know what I mean? I got a couple talking points, so we're going to break them down step by step. Going off of what I just said, man, we got lyricism versus vibes. As we know, man, golden era was filled with intricate wordplay, metaphors, storytelling, you know what I mean, from Rakim, Nas, Biggie, Slick Rick, you know what I'm saying? Hip hop began to get deep on a level where then that you had to intricately know certain things to say that you was a hip hop fan. You couldn't just be like, yo, I'm a hip hop fan because I like the beat or I like this. No, there were certain things, certain elements of being a hip hop fan that carried over for you being a fan. And this is why we call certain people true fans and certain people just, you know what I mean, regular, you know what I mean, everyday, here we go, vanilla fans, you know what I'm saying? And I believe as time went on, and you know what I'm saying, from the golden era and rap began to change, those elements begin to subside. You know what I mean? Like today, modern era, we have just melodies, it's mood driven, you know what I mean? And it's just a vibe. It's just a vibe. It's just, how does the music make me feel rather than what story is this song painting and where is it taking me? You know what I mean? We want to feel it. So I believe that was a very important part of hip hop, that trying to transition from, you know what I mean, the golden era, you know what I'm saying, which made the golden era to us, because before that, hip hop, before that, the time before the golden era, hip hop was very similar to what it was today. We had a lot of people that was just rapping the rap, you know what I'm saying? It really wasn't about a vibe, but a lot of people, there was no storytelling. It was just putting words together to rhyme. But we do also have to understand that hip hop was in its early infancy stages. So a lot of the things that I'm talking about now, like, they didn't even exist for us to say they had to be done. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when a lot of rappers was rapping, all of this, the wordplay, the metaphors, the similes, you know what I'm saying? A lot of those things weren't even present in hip hop to say that somebody should have had to done it. You know what I'm saying? So it can even be unfair for me to even try to compare the era before the golden era to the golden era. But we can compare the golden era to the modern era, because even in today, a lot of those things are fleeing. You know what I'm saying? You have the Drakes, the Futures, the Travis Scotts, people that's just, they more about, we want the audience to feel the vibe that I'm feeling when I made the song, rather than I gotta be so deep with it that I want them to sit back and, you know what I mean, overthink my lyrics. You know what I mean? Not to say that those things don't exist, because you have the J. Cole's, you have the Kendrick Lamar's, you know what I mean? You have artists that do still sit back and want to be deep. But I believe that the more popular artists even though Kendrick is a very popular artist, you know what I'm saying? The more popular artists is the Drakes, the Futures, the Travis Scotts are the ones that just go for the vibe. And the audience tends to run towards that. We have, back in the day, man, the producers were kings, which was true. You know what I mean? Which was true. Even though I'm a Nas fan, one thing that I could say back then, man, Nas beat picking to me was subpar. You know what I mean? And if you had somebody that was always rap on a top tier beat, sometimes the beat carried the song. So producers were kings. In the golden era, we had Premier, Pete Rock, Large Professor, The Bomb Squad. You know what I'm saying? We had a whole bunch and that's just to name a few. We had a gang of people, you know what I'm saying? People that had signature sounds. And sometimes, I'm not going to lie, even being a golden era baby, sometimes that kind of did wear on me. When you heard like a Swiss Beats track, you know it was a Swiss Beats track. When you heard a Timbaland track, you can identify it as a Timbaland track. Pharrell, you know what I mean? We can identify exactly who the track was sometimes before we heard it. You know what I mean? And the uniqueness of it made it kind of like, I guess you could say, even though it was unique, it made it kind of less unique. You know what I'm saying? Because it became repetitive. You know what I mean? A lot of people say that about RZA. And me and Iso talked about that when we did our producers. It wasn't an episode, but we did like, I think the top 20 producers or something like that in New York, top 10 producers in New York. And a lot of people was upset that RZA was so high because of his style. It became repetitive after a while. So early on, even though it was new, it was fresh, he may not have had changed with the times to keep up with the times, and he kept being who he was. And a lot of people got tired of that. It began to get stale, you know what I'm saying, and so forth and so on like that. And in the modern era, we got Metro Boomin, we got Tay Keith, Hit Boy. You know what I mean? A lot of these artists that the tag has become the major thing for you to identify them with. You know what I'm saying? Mustard, the tag within the song from the producer, which I guess helped them carry their name along, because it was a point after the golden era of producers where you didn't really know who the producers was. You know what I'm saying? It got to the point where producers were an afterthought. And now I guess with the tag being in the song, it kind of helps you. The producer somewhat becomes a co-artist, or, you know what I'm saying, a guest appearance on the song now, because, you know what I mean, the tag carries it along. You know what I mean? So the producers have become stars again. You know what I mean? And because of the times and because of the eras and because of where we at in the music, I believe that the producers are more unique now, and their sound carries across to several artists. Whereas, I'm not gonna say back in the day producers were like stuck with certain artists, but for example, like a Scott Storch was very successful with a Fat Joe, and certain beats that Scott may have done with other artists, you'll feel like that this joint just don't feel the same. It just need Fat Joe on it. Or Swiss Beats was very successful with the Rough Riders, even though he's done songs with, you know what I mean, for Jay and so forth and so on. Certain songs that he may have done for other artists, you're like, hey, this feels like it needs a Rough Rider or a DMX on it. You know what I mean? Whereas today, because of the, I guess you could say the de-association of the producers with the artists, I wouldn't mind hearing a Metro Boomin with a Drake, or Metro Boomin with a Kendrick or Future, you know what I'm saying, or Mustard with, you know what I mean, other artists and like that, because the de-association, we used to associate producers with artists. You know what I mean? When you heard RZA, we associated RZA with the Wu-Tang, or with the RZA with the Wu-Tang member. You know what I mean? So because of the de-association of producers with artists, it allows us to, I guess you can say, fantasize or imagine the producer with another artist. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that, you know what I mean, today that's a great thing, you know what I mean, in the modern era. That, you know what I mean, the de-association of the artist with the producer. I got right here, album structure. Listen, in the golden era, album structure was a very intricate thing, and a lot of people will never flee from it. It was 16 bars, hook, 16 bars, you know what I'm saying? You may put a bridge in there or whatever, but the song had to stick to that format. That was the format that made a song a song. Even to the point where certain hip hop artists told you that they could not measure a bar, so they did certain things to measure a bar because they wanted to stick to the structure that it was. I believe Nori said that he couldn't count bars. You know what I'm saying? So he was taught a certain way on how to count bars because he had to stick to the structure of what a hip hop album was within that time. You know what I mean? Where in today, listen, you'll hear a song that might not have a chorus at all. You might hear a song that might be a bridge and it go into 10 bars, go right back into the bridge, and then you might hear the chorus. Songs have no structure. It's like I said, it's all about the vibe. It's all about the feel. So when an artist goes into the booth, it ain't about, man, I got to create this album and it has to be structured. You know what I mean? Like this is however I feel, this is what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? Certain songs might be majority chorus. You might hear a chorus so repetitive that you remember the chorus. Of course, you'll remember the chorus over the lyrics because that's the most repetitive thing. But it may be so repetitive that you even forget the lyrics. You know what I mean? The chorus becomes the highlight of the song. So album structure, you know what I mean? Definitely, well, not I wrote album structure, but I mean song structure. Because if we do album structure is way different now than it was then. Album structure back then, man, I don't even remember. I'm trying to think back then if I can remember an album that didn't have a skit in it. Because skits became the trending thing to do at the time of the golden era. And where in the modern era, it can be song, with no type of rhyme or reason. The modern era can have a song that don't even necessarily lead into the next song. You know what I mean? It just goes song. That could be because of streaming. You know what I mean? Because now with streaming, as a fan, you don't have to necessarily even download the whole album or pick the whole album. You can just pick this song. You dissecting the album and you create your own playlist. There you go. The playlist, you know what I mean, became the album structure for today rather than just the album. So you can pick from this song. You create your own playlist on what you like from that artist. It could be these songs from this album, these songs from this album, these songs from this album. And you created your own playlist for that artist. Not necessarily just going off of the album and you going from song 1 to song 12 all in a row. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things that definitely changed today. Album structure. But that could be streaming. Streaming, you know what I mean, played a major part in that. I got this right here. Message in the music, which we already spoke on in the beginning, man. Substance and storytelling. You know what I mean? The golden era, man, we had our messages in the music. We had Public Enemy, KRS-One. You know what I'm saying? Listen, Nas. We had The God, RZA, you know what I mean? We had a whole gang of people that was just telling messages in music. And now in the modern era, you really do only have a handful. Well, I'm not going to say you only have a handful of people. You have a handful of people that we know about that are like the mainstream people. Because there could be an array of people that's doing it. But because of YouTube or maybe they being drowned away that we don't necessarily know them, but they had their own fan base, which is another thing. You don't necessarily have to go mainstream. You can go YouTube, go right directly to the consumers for modern era, and pick up not even 1 million people. You can pick up a couple 100,000 people, and that could be your fan base, and you can be comfortable with that and make a very comfortable living off of what you make like that. You know what I'm saying? There's nobody that says that you have to have the 1 million plus fans and try to sell 1 million plus records. No, you can go on YouTube and upload your music, and your music can go viral on YouTube. Every now and then they hit 1 million, but your core fans, it could be 300,000, 500,000. That's enough just to get you by. You know what I mean? You direct to them, they direct to them. They leave a comment, you comment back. Y'all got that connection, and that money right there is enough for you to live off of comfortably. So the fact that you can go direct to consumer is another thing in the modern era that separates it from the golden era. But yeah, message in music. You know what I'm saying? And we have right here money, fame, and clout, which is crazy, right? Because I'm gonna say it like this: in the golden era, certain things was like taboo, even though it was a business. The quote "keep it real" was like one of the most things that kept going around. Keep it real, but you forget that this is a business. So keeping it real means what? Keeping it real means not being able to feed my family because I can't go into pop, or I can't go into a certain direction that might blow me up. I can't do a song with a certain artist that might help myself out. So we always had to keep it real. You know what I mean? Which I never understood. I never understood that phrase, that term. But we had to keep it real. You know what I mean? Respect came from the streets and skills, what I wrote down there. Which, as we know, man, the streets will keep you in the streets. And I ain't talking about like on no, I'm not talking about on no gangster, no dangerous level. What I mean by that, the streets will keep you in the streets because one example that I always go to is, man, that we love Kiss. We love, is no hood in the world that you can go to that they tell you that they don't love Kiss. Is Kiss where he is supposed to be at, you know what I mean, within the hip hop world financially? I'll say no. Kiss should be a top dog, no doubt. Kiss should be one of them dudes that's sitting up talking about something, yeah, I got X amount of $1 billion because of the love that we say that we have for him. You know what I'm saying? So when I say the streets will keep you in the streets, we will say we love you, but we won't back it up with our dollars. We won't back it up with our dollars at all. And in the modern era, you know what I'm saying, it's kind of different because it's artists that we don't even know about, like I said before, and they can have a YouTube following, and that YouTube following help them create a substantial life that they don't even have to work again in their life. You know what I mean? So the modern era, they show their support and they show their love for their artists. And I guess you can argue that it can necessarily not be monetarily as well, because if I'm a fan of you and I view you on YouTube or I follow you on Instagram, and that follow, you know what I mean, turns into a monetary situation because now you got X amount of followers on Instagram, and that turns into you doing that ad deal over here. You got X amount of followers on YouTube, and now when I view your you know what I mean, your stuff, that turns into X amount of, you know what I mean, dollars on YouTube. So I guess you can even say it's not necessarily the fan, it's the technology that caught up with the fans not having to put dollars behind, you know what I mean, the artist. So that right there might be unfair, and I just thought of that right now. You know what I mean? Just saying, so money, fame, and clout, even though we was on this keep it real thing, you know what I mean, if YouTube was, I'm not gonna say around, because YouTube actually wasn't around during the golden era. It came out towards the end. But if YouTube was the prominent thing at that time, I think Kiss probably would be bigger than what he is. Not bigger as far as name-wise, bigger as far as financial-wise. And I'm not saying that to say that Kiss is unhappy with his career. I'm speaking on something that, you know what I'm saying, that I think Kiss should be one of them dudes talking about something, you know what I'm saying, financially he a top dog. You know what I mean? Financially, Kiss somewhere where he don't got to rap again, or he just rapping for the fun of it, the sport of it, which he could actually be doing right now. I'm not sitting here saying Kiss is in a bad position. Kiss probably is well off. Not saying probably. Kiss is well off. You know what I mean? He happy. You know what I mean? He cool, comfortable with his life. But the love that we say that we have for Kiss, from hood to hood to hood, person to person to person, Kiss should be in that billionaire bracket. Every time he drop an album, it should go crazy. Every time he drop a song, it should go crazy. His YouTube should be crazy. His Instagram should be, you know what I'm saying, 100 plus, 200 million, 300 million plus fans because of the love that we say we have for him. You know what I'm saying? And in the modern era, I'm gonna say like this: if we take the element of hip hop out of it, in the modern era, if we take the element of hip hop out of it, the modern era, they are more supportive of their fans. For some odd reason, it might be a hip hop thing. You know what I mean? Because not necessarily because when Griselda Gang go out, man, they merch go crazy. You know what I mean? They do crazy. They do have a niche fan base that follow them from spot to spot. When they travel, it's not like, yo, I can't wait till they come to my town. You like, where they at? Because I'm going to go to them. You know what I mean? So shout out to them. You know what I mean? Because they fans do travel with them. They do have a niche fan base that travels with them. And I'm not going to say that they fans don't represent hip hop, but they don't. There's certain elements within that they don't show that hip hop fans show. You know what I mean? For the fact of traveling, like most people, like when Nas coming to town, I want to go see the Nas show if I'm available. You know what I mean? If I don't got to do this, but regardless, their life revolves around them rather than Nas got to come here on a day where I'm off, and it got to be. You know what I mean? It has to fit within my schedule for me to go see him, which is like how we are now. You know what I mean? But like I said, if you take the hip hop element out of it, when Taylor Swift come to town, they gonna sell it out. When Beyonce come to town, they gonna sell it out. Not just that. And the album sales, the ticket sales are gonna supersede what the top artists in hip hop ticket sales would be. Meaning as far as price, Beyonce can come here and charge you X amount of dollars when the top hip hop artists might not be able to charge you that. Chris Brown come here and charge you X amount of dollars because they know you gonna get it up to come see me. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The price is the price, and you gonna pay the price to come see me. You know what I'm saying? Also in here, man, you know what I'm saying? As we know, the golden era, I don't even know how. I was just Googling trying to see what time frame the golden era span from. So a lot of them was coming up saying 1986 to 1996 was the span of the golden era. You know what I'm saying? And at that time, our top artists, we had Nas, Pac, Big, Rakim, KRS-One, Wu-Tang was there. You know, Jay was there, Tribe Called Quest. We had a slew of top artists. You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to do this to compare our top artists to their top artists, our top albums and songs to their top I'm saying there as if I don't listen to hip hop. Modern day top albums and songs, and this is just a hypothetical because I don't even know how we can even pull this up. But I Googled and I looked up to see how many albums were sold in totality during that time compared to how many albums and singles are sold in modern day times. So like I said, I told y'all the top artists that we had. Of course, our top albums and songs, we had Nas, Illmatic, 1994. Big, Ready to Die was 1994 as well. Tupac, Me Against the World, 1995. A Tribe Called Quest, Low End Theory, 91. Wu-Tang Clan, Enter the Wu 36 Chambers in 1993. I only did like the top 5, you know what I'm saying, albums. So those were the top 5 albums when I was Googling and everything and just going over stuff. This is not mine, you know what I'm saying? I know people were like, why didn't I put Reasonable Doubt in there? Why don't you put a DMX album in there? This is just what I Googled. You know what I mean? I just try to make it as easy as possible for me. This is what I Googled and this is what came up. So we got Nas, Illmatic, we got Big, Ready to Die, Tupac, Me Against the World, A Tribe Called Quest, and Wu-Tang Clan. You know what I'm saying? In the golden era from 1986 to 1996, over 200 million physical copies were sold globally. You know what I'm saying? Those statistics come from the RIAA stats, mostly CD, vinyl, and cassette sales. So during that 10-year span, over 200 million plus albums were sold. You know what I'm saying? Which is great, man. 10 years, you know what I'm saying? The slew of artists. Modern day era, which is 2015 to present. Top artists, we got Drake, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Travis Scott, Future, and Lil Baby. Top albums, songs, top albums. This gave me Drake, Take Care, Kendrick, Damn, J. Cole, 2014, Forest Hills Drive, and Travis Scott, Astro World. That only gave me 4. I don't know why it gave me 4, and the other one gave me 5, so, you know what I'm saying? Sales within the modern sales. Of course, it says less physical sales, more streaming. 1,500 streams equals 1 album sale. That's how this broke it down. So, for example, Damn by Kendrick Lamar, 3 million album units. You know what I mean? Scorpion by Drake was over 7 million units globally. You know what I'm saying? So, it's saying that selfishly golden era, 20 million. Oh, so it was just breaking down the streams that album did and converted it into, you know what I mean, units. So, we have the golden era selling over 200 million physical, you know what I mean, sales. You know what I mean, albums, where the modern era has billions of streams but fewer full album sales. So it's like tomato, man. It's just argumentative. You want to argue that the modern era sold way more units, but it's easily accessible over the golden era, which only sold 200 million. But we had to actually get up out the house. Some of us had to go on the bus. You know what I mean? I'm from Philly. My favorite spot, we go down South Philly. You know what I mean? You go to Sam Goody, or you went to your local, you know what I mean, record store. You had to like physically walk in there with money in hand, pick out what album you wanted, you know what I mean, come home. So this is also, we can say, well, look, time is what the time is, man. Technology is what it is. We can't get mad that the time of the golden era is what the time of the golden era was, and the modern era is what it was. Modern era did outsell the golden era because of the accessibility of the albums, man. You can literally roll over in your bed, grab your phone, you know what I'm saying, go on to Apple Music and just boop, 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 listen to it, stream it. Or if you wanted to be, if you're a fan that you really like to support your artist, click download onto the song. You know what I mean? It wasn't no, yo, such and such album come at such and such time. You can literally at 12:01, when they say the album going to drop 12:01, you listen to it at 12:01. You know what I'm saying? So the modern era, you know what I mean, was more prominent, but the accessibility of it helped it out. Technology helped the modern era, you know what I'm saying, and where it is today. Because if we take that away, if we take that element away, do we say that the modern era, certain artists would sell the way that they sell? And I say that not to be disrespectful, but I'm just going to use an example. I'm going to use an example of a huge artist where this example won't even be true. If Drake come out with an album, you can be like, let me try this, let me see what this like. You know what I'm saying? Because I can stream it before I even decide that what singles I want to buy. Let me listen to it on streaming. When we was kids, it wasn't no let me try this out. You literally had to go to the store and you like, yo, this drink better be a hit because I'm about to spend my dub on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to spend my dub on it, man. This drink better be what I think it's going to be because I'm about to pass up on this album, because so many albums come out at one time. So I need this one to be a hit because if it's not, I'm going to be highly upset because I should have got this one. You know what I mean? Where trial and error on being a fan or trial and error of listening to somebody's album is less today than it was then. You know what I mean? A lot of people bought albums then and you was highly upset sometimes. And you know, word spread. Listen, man, don't get such and such album. I paid my dub on it, man. That joint was a dud. And you know, word of mouth can be very detrimental to an album. I mean, in certain areas. Whereas you can say the same thing about a modern day album. Like, listen, man, don't get such and such album because I bought it and it wasn't what I anticipated. And you like, I know such and such said it wasn't good, but let me stream it and let me try it out. I mean, get an example for myself. We didn't have that. Let me get an example for myself. That $20 meant something. And I'm not going to spend my $20 on an album. And I had to deal with this album for, man, when we was kids, we getting paid every other week. You had to go 2 weeks before you got another check. I'm not going to deal with this album for no 2 weeks until I can go get another album. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasted my time on an album that somebody told me was bad. You know what I'm saying? So, it definitely trial and error was very high then, higher than it is now. I don't even know if they go through that now. Because now, public opinion doesn't even matter. Because you know that it's low risk and you just listen to somebody's album. So, the public opinion is so devalued that it's like, man, whatever. I don't care what you say. I'm still going to listen to the album. Yo, don't listen to the album. That joint was trash. Whatever. I'm going to listen to it right now. And if you don't like it, you're like, yeah, that joint was trash. But everybody that still gives that album a try, that counts as a stream. And if 1,500 people do it, like we said, 1,500 streams equal one album. That's an album sale. So you're more likely to have people want to try than not. So, you know what I mean? Because of technology, because where we at, modern day era did take out the risk of you even attempting to be introduced to new artists. It took out the pressure and the fear of trying an album that somebody told you wasn't good. Took all that out. So, you know what I'm saying? Right here we got, was skill more respected back then? Definitely was. Skill was way more respected back then, even to the element of artists not wanting to sound like other artists. That was a big thing. Listen, everywhere you went, somebody wanted to be a rapper. I wanted to be a rapper. And my thing was, I don't want to sound like such and such. I want to have a unique sound. Where I think today, they don't care. Matter of fact, if you sound like somebody, that might be more of a reason for them to, you know what I mean, want to do it, because you know what, he's successful. I want to be successful too, so let me do it like he's doing it. It's kind of like I took like this finance class up, and it's like a model that McDonald's does. If McDonald's sees that a Burger King or a Checkers or another fast food restaurant is somewhere, they're more inclined to go on the opposite corner because they know, well, people must love fast food here. So because they hear, let's go right across the street. You know what I'm saying? The fear of being across the street from the competition wasn't in there. They was like, they must eat fast food here because this is here, that is there, that is there. We going right here, right across the street from all of them. You know what I'm saying? So that element, you know what I'm saying, is what today's artists actually do. They They repeat sounds, they repeat melodies, they repeat you know what I mean, just the way that the song feel, vibes and everything. They definitely do have to go into that. So I'm not gonna say that that's not skill. There's no skill based within that, but I think we were more worried about trying to be individuals and fit into a lane of our own rather than they are today. Golden era sound, could it thrive today? Boom bap. Boom bap next to trap beats. Could boom bap exist next to trap beats? I don't know because the sound sounds dated. There are very few artists, you know what I mean, from the golden era that you can play today and you can just be like, yeah, this looks like you can listen to it today. Big, you have Phil, Jay does that, Nas does that. Of course, Nas does that. Nas is still, you know what I'm saying, active today. Certain Method Man songs he does that where he don't sound dated. But like when you say boom bap, a lot of boom bap artists sound dated. You know what I'm saying? So could they hold up to today? I don't think so because they definitely do sound dated. Albums versus algorithm. Because of the powers that be, you know what I'm saying? Which they were always around, but because they are even more influential now where I can just feed you material to your phone, to your desktop, or if you watch YouTube on the TV, through the TV, we have an even more influential hand in feeding you certain artists. Algorithms are way more powerful than albums. Listen. Yeah, I mean, listen, man, the powers that be can definitely feed you what they want to feed you when they want to feed it to you. So algorithms will always be more powerful now than album promotion ever was. The disappearing of the DJ, you know what I'm saying? At the time that of the golden era, man, DJs were forth standing and still on their own. It was cool to be the DJ, you know what I'm saying? And the DJ had a power that you put DJ in front of your name. We had DJ Jazzy Jeff, man, DJ Premier. Again, people, now it's like the DJ is fleeting and the DJ is disappearing at this time, you know what I'm saying? So the disappearance of the DJ could be the fact that DJ is not being needed. You know what I'm saying? With technology, you can go into a computer and everything's set up right there for you, man. The computer could be DJ. DJ, you know what I mean? Apple, Mac, DJ, Chromebook, whatever you got. But that definitely can be, you know what I'm saying, one of the things that's fleeing again. Like I said, man, y'all know how I do. I don't get long-winded into these things. I don't get long. I don't go on and on forever. But this is just something that sparked my interest, man. That if the golden era was so golden, why are there elements of the golden era that have faded away or don't no longer exist? Or did they evolve? Or did they transition? You know what I'm saying? Did the golden era end up being a placement, a footholder for us to get where we at? Or was it just something that filled the time for us to get where we had to get ultimately? We would have got here ultimately. It is what it is, man. What elements should modern hip-hop bring back? I don't know why I wrote that in there. That's probably a question for y'all. What elements should modern hip-hop bring back? I don't know, man, because hip-hop is a genre that kind of eliminates things itself. The b-boy is gone, break dancing, like we implement things and we destroy them ourselves. We start to call them lame. Like, you know what I'm saying? The DJ, you know what I mean? The DJ scratching and going to parties, mixing records and stuff like that. Like, we start to eliminate the things within hip-hop, which is kind of weird because, you know what I mean? We create it and then we destroy it at the same time. Can a new generation bring bars and death back to the forefront? I'm going to say no. Even though we will always have artists that will be focused on bars and focused on lyricism, the most popular artist now will always be the vibe. And for the fact that, you know what I'm saying, bars will not be what we thought bars to be, you know what I'm saying, in the past. The bars that we saw in the past could have been a lyric that made you think of something, that resonated with something, that, you know what I mean, was the double entendres, you know what I mean, the similes and things like that. That was a bar. Now a bar could be, Drake can go from rapping into a singing transition, and that could be, ooh, that was crazy. So a bar is not what a bar today is not what we it's not equivalent to what we had a bar in the yesteryear. So thinking that can the new generation bring back bars? No, because it won't be equivalent to what we think bars are. You know what I'm saying? It won't have the same effect for us. I don't even think that they care about bars. You know what I mean? Like I said, the modern day era is definitely a thing of vibe, and you know what I mean, just filling out things and feeling the mood and where certain things take you and how they take you there. You know what I'm saying? Again, man, in my closing argument, if the golden era of hip hop was so iconic, why did it disappear? You know what I'm saying? From lyricism to legacy in today's music, we're diving into lyricism, legacy, and if today's music even compares. Yeah, I mean, hip hop is definitely growing. Hip hop is bigger than it's one of the biggest musical genres, you know what I mean, right now. And definitely on the forefront of so many artists, man. We have artists in places that you don't know of but are very successful. You know what I'm saying? We have artists that only use a certain type of platform and they're super uber successful. They may only use YouTube. Certain artists may only use TikTok and they're uber successful. You know what I mean? So there's so many different avenues for an artist to be successful now, rather than the golden era where an A&R had to find you, a label broke you, and they created the image that they wanted you to be. Now you can be exactly what you want to be and be as successful as you want to be. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, this is just something that jumped into my head and I wanted to pose the question to y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? If the golden era of hip hop was so iconic, why are the things from the golden era fading away or have faded away? Listen, man, if you got this far, man, thank you. We ask that you like, rate, review, share, subscribe, all of those small things to show that you appreciate the big things that we do. And nonetheless, with that said right there, man, we out of here, y'all. Peace.